Hey, what up, Vol fans? Excited to be back with you today.
Hmm.
Going to just jump into a couple of things. Recruiting, obviously, June, Bob, has become the month of the official visits. 90% of your work, it seems like where you're at after uh, in the next 2 to 3 weeks after these
Yeah,
visits
this
come and
this is
go.
when commits start hitting here in the next little bit. Very little. A
Yeah,
lot of
early
commits happen in
July.
July. Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll talk into that. First, though, we're going to talk a little bit about some things that's kind of been we've seen it out there a little bit this
Hmm.
week. What needs to change for this coming team? And two things obviously mentioned quite a bit is red zone offense and splash plays. Both got to get better.
Right.
But we're not going to really dive a whole lot into that as much as a couple of other areas that we think we need to see improvement on uh, that's going to get us back to that college football playoff.
Right. Well, before we dive into that, Tim, I just want to say that be watching our next few videos. We're going to get more details about a giveaway we're going to do. It's going to be really nice. We want to get it though and get it here so you can see it. Um, and I think you'll like
Yeah.
it.
We'll have a little bit more information on maybe our next video
Yeah.
and then our following. So just
I think the
keeping,
following
yeah.
videos when we'll probably start
So
the
just watch
process.
back.
Yeah. But
Um,
but getting back to what we was talking about, Tim, um, I think what we need, man, you heard me during the games complain about it over and over and over again. When we got down to a third and long, it was done. We was punting. We could not get a 10, 12 yard, 15-yard completion when it was, I mean, we might as well went ahead and punted. I've never seen I don't know if I've ever seen a Tennessee team that was that bad.
well, Bob, it seemed like to me that it wasn't just the fact that they wasn't able to do it. It's almost like they didn't even have a plan of how to do it.
Yes.
No identity on what our offense was going to look like in that
Rarely
situation.
it was a pass.
Uh,
I mean, I'd like to go back and look and chart it, but I'm going to say when we had, let's say it's a third and 12, I bet you we ran the ball or done some kind of shuttle pass.
well, I
Uh,
mean, honestly, the team and the coaching staff, I'm sure, had no confidence in their ability to pick up a long thing
yeah.
sometimes. So you start trying to play field position a little bit, hope for that to break one tackle type of
But
deal.
man, if you're thinking running the ball, which just gives you maybe a 5% chance, maybe of getting that yardage, if that's the best you got to come up with, I mean, that's bad. I mean,
Yeah.
um,
Like I said, it just did not seem we had a clue of how to adjust what defenses were doing in those
but I
situations.
will say, I Heupel has done a pretty good job uh, of trying to see problems and then change them from one year to the next. And I fully expect him to dive into that. We really need more of those, and it's not just third down plays. We didn't have very many of those 10 to 15, 20-yard plays, period, throughout the season. Much less than what we had the previous 2 years ago in 22. We need to work on that. And maybe it's a wide receiver talent part of it, but I feel like that's a lot of on the
It's probably a
quarterback.
combination of quarterback, wide receiver, and offense coordinator.
Yes, but that's something we need to improve on. Um, something else we need to look at, Tim, that has to really get better, I think, is the sack rate. We didn't really get to have such a good defensive line last year.
Yeah.
We didn't get near as many sacks as I thought. I remember one of us making a pretty bold prediction on that last year.
Yeah, I think it was me, I believe. Could be wrong. I've slept since then, but I predicted we'd set a new record for sacks as a team.
And I think that was a bold take or
Well, I
bold
think it
take
was a bold take, but
episode.
I
So
felt pretty good about that one though.
yeah,
I thought that was a bold take, a hot take that actually had a shot at hitting.
right.
Um,
And there's nothing wrong with taking a bold take on that when you say about beforehand that hey, this is a bold take.
yeah,
You know.
uh, but it was far from it. We actually got to them a little less than what we should have, and there's probably a couple of reasons for that,
I
Bob.
agree. I agree.
Um, I know you've talked about how teams prepared for us. They were doing a lot of short drops, quick getting the ball out of your hand real quick because you don't want a James Pierce or a Joshua Josephs or anyone O&L coming through get you. I mean, you got to get rid of it quick, and that's what they did to us, which is great because, I mean, that limits what they're doing on the offense.
Yeah, I mean, it is good. And I really think that was a big part of it. But you still got to find ways. If that even that means you got to, blitz a linebacker up the middle or something.
Or the Star. Seemed like
Right.
we blitzed Star a whole lot less the last year or two than what we did
Hmm.
the first couple of years. Uh, but we had great success with it early on, uh, uh, coming off the
Yeah, I
Star
mean,
position.
sacks are drive killers. I mean, I forget, there was a stat on that here a while back that if you get a sack, the chances of you continuing that drive was super low.
Yeah,
So I mean, those are huge and
impact plays.
impact plays. Yeah.
Bob, and really, what we're talking about also kind of goes into, I think, my next point on this right here is,
Hmm.
we gotta start better. Um, and honestly, people first couple of years were playing behind. Actually, I'm gonna go just extend this out a little bit, Bob. I made a bad point altogether. Okay. Okay. Now another thing, Bob, that may have impacted our sack rate and sack numbers and all in all is what we're going to talk about next that we have to do better on, and that's getting a better, quicker start out the gate. Um,
Absolutely.
because we didn't have to. I mean, most of the time we've playing behind from playing in front the last few years, and we just pinned our ears back because everybody was trying to catch up to us,
Yeah.
and that wasn't the case last year.
Yeah. I mean, we need to score more than, 3, 6 points in the first half.
Yeah,
Uh, that's uh, that's pretty critical, man. We've got to do better.
a 180-degree turn from when Heupel got here.
I know. I mean, I have not seen that. We talked about this before the video. I have not seen a team with the same coaching staff make a huge jump. We was leading the country in first half scoring, first quarter
First
scoring,
quarter.
uh, for the first couple of years. And then we go from doing that to we was probably toward the very bottom teams in the country in scoring in the first quarter, first half
Yeah.
last year. I
Particularly if you
mean,
take away our cream puffs.
yeah, that skewed the numbers a lot. But once we went to SEC play and went against good competition, we was horrible in the first half.
Yeah, couldn't get out the gate.
Matter of fact, I made money on us toward the end of the year betting on the under in the first half
And I
because
knew the previous year you'd been betting the over on the first quarter.
yes, yeah,
So that's going to be a key also. Bob, I think it's, as we said earlier, though, let's quickly dive back into those first two things in case people haven't seen it.
yeah,
Um, and that's red zone percentage and splash plays. And when we say red zone, we're talking about TD percentage.
right. We went from number one in the country in 22 to 81st last year, Tim. That is I'm gonna say at least a 2-win difference. If we had been first in the country in red zone scoring offense, TD percentage last year, uh, we got a first round bye. We win the conference, and
Yeah. Man, at worst, you're hosting.
yes, I
And,
mean it
and it,
was. So we got 2 more wins probably. I mean, I
I promise you Arkansas don't beat us.
yeah, and you know, only team that I seen that might not have beat it and won us the game was Ohio State possibly. But I mean, that's a huge difference, man. It's just a huge difference between that. Uh, you've got to not kick field goals when you get inside the top 20, top 25.
I mean, inside the 20.
I mean, yeah, inside the 20, 25. You got to score some touchdowns, and we did a really good job of that before, and that's something else that I'm sure the coaching staff's looking at. And there is some rumors that they have, and we talked about this. There is some rumors that the coaching staffs have done some changes from a philosophy standpoint. And I think you've got to do that every year, but hopefully they've made more than normal because they got to get better at red zone. They got to get better at splash plays.
Yeah. Splash plays obviously disappeared on us the last couple of years. Too many overthrows, too many drop passes.
Hmm.
Uh, And even with those, though, it don't seem like the we didn't see as many open receivers running around because of the way the defenses have chosen to play us.
Right.
And we can't necessarily make the defenses go back to what they were doing.
Right.
But obviously, Heupel is looking at some changes. Brought in Seth Latrell,
Mm-hmm.
some experience in the offense, a good friend. And although he did not succeed at Oklahoma, I think sometimes he was, to a degree, scapegoated. Uh, somebody had to go, and when you're not scoring, your offense sucks. It's the coach. It don't matter that you had like 5 of your top 6 wide receivers hurt. It doesn't matter that you may have had the offensive line in the. It was beat up also.
Oh yeah, it really was. I mean, they was had one arm behind their back on that one. The offensive coordinator did. For sure.
Yeah, he took the fall for it.
He did.
But Bob also,
And I tell you what, there was another Oklahoma offensive coordinator that took a fall a few years back.
yeah,
He turned out all right. I mean,
that is true.
so I'm
Some
hoping it's
similar
he actually
results.
come to Tennessee, so I'm hoping Seth Luttrell has similar results.
Amen to that. Another thing Bob's got to change on that right there is get sometimes Jimmy and Joe's.
Yeah.
So, another big recruiting weekend. Um, but Bob, we really want to talk about one situation, really. Savion Hiter, number one running back in the country. I don't really know how to even really get into it if you haven't already seen it, but we'll try. Um,
Yeah, we can kind of read some of the quotes, but man, I tell you what, I'm not
yeah,
sure how to.
you go look him up, and I'm gonna start the backstory, Bob. His agent slash NIL guy has been going around on the trips with him, and he's put some cryptic quotes out on uh, Twitter, X,
Yeah.
and before you get into that, Bob, Can I go ahead and read a Michigan article from a week ago?
Sure.
Now, Tennessee and Michigan seems to be the top two for top running back in the country.
Right.
Hiter, um, Tennessee's got a lot of momentum, is the thought out there.
Right.
Hiter, Michigan was a long time leader, but um, there's no doubt who this guy has a preference for. A week ago on uh, Michigan's website, here was what was written, and these are some quotes from his advisor, um, which is by the name of McCann. I'm trying to find this first name real, Adam McCann, and he's real tight with the general manager that Michigan has up there, McGee.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but quote, the visit went well, McCann said. It's always a smooth process with Michigan. They get everybody in and out on time. Their scheduling is phenomenal. Their hospitality, that show has been top tier for a long time. It's genuine. They've been doing it for 2 years. Their hospitality somehow keeps getting better every visit. Um, they always roll out the blue carpet for Savion. Every time he's on campus, they show him what a main priority looks like both on and off the field. They do a great job of showing us their game plan and how they actually going to use him, how they talk to Savion, how they talk to his family, and how they treat me stands out. There'll be more on that right there, how they treat me. Um, um, Other schools just treat me like an agent, but they do everything the right way. They have a very warm welcome for Savion and me every time. Um, everything with Coach Alford and Coach Lindsey went well. They have a clear plan, but they don't want to say it. They want to prove it. Um, that shows the development of running backs. We're very confident in that. Um, and he went on to talk about, let's see, uh, he kept talking about more about him, himself, how they treat him every time they get him on
So it
and they talk
sounds like
about
he
him.
has a preference to Michigan in that article.
Well, yeah, and they talk also about their NIL deal of how they actually set up actual NIL deals. Um, and he mentioned their other running backs, but to go into other people too talk about the relationship he has with the general manager McGee.
Mm-hmm.
they're tied.
Right.
Now, he did not come on the trip to Tennessee, though. And normally I would say that's because it's a done deal to Michigan.
Right.
However, Bob, now we go to your quotes from Twitter.
Yeah. I mean, it just puts out there that I've put too much good work to be treated like that. Um, you got, like you said, it's very
Oh,
cryptic.
well, yeah. Let me back up for one more thing.
Yeah.
Middle of the week, there was reports out of what the NIL deal for Savion was going to be. It got leaked. Pete Nakos put some figures out on the thing, and the talk was that the family was very upset that somebody leaked the information.
Yeah.
Now, Michigan was trying to say somehow or another they're blaming Ohio State for leaking the numbers, obviously.
Which is the third choice.
Yeah,
It appears to be. Yeah.
yeah. So they're trying to blame them, but the Hiter family is upset with somebody, whether it be Ohio State, Michigan, Tennessee, Georgia, whoever knows the NIL numbers, or maybe the NIL guy, which is their agent. So under that backdrop, Bob, go back to some of the quotes.
Well, I mean, he also said the real relationship starts when you hold no value to them. He also says, I was sent here to do God's work and feel bad for those who don't see that, then chose to treat me wrong. God don't play about me. Um, and I've always been very skeptical when people start throwing God's work. I'm not non-religious by no means, but
No, I'm very
yeah,
respectful,
yes, very respectful.
but I do believe that most time when you're doing God's work, your actions are showing it, and
Not,
you're not
not,
talking about it.
yes, exactly. Um, that's when people saying stuff like that, they're usually that's the Urban Meyers of the world that's
Yeah,
saying stuff like that.
yeah,
As
but
long
they're
as it's
generally
not,
trying to build themselves up and not God.
yeah, and they're usually scumbags.
Yeah. Well, Urban Meyer,
Yeah, exactly.
or the Reverend Freeze.
Yes,
Uh,
right.
so the question is,
I guess we'll find out.
yes, because I don't know really who he's trying to say, what he's trying to say. Some people speculate that he's been kicked out by the family. Other people has tried to speculate that there's a rift between Michigan and them now.
Well, either one of those two would be good for us.
Yes,
Let's just hope it's what it is.
yeah, because like many things on Twitter, you better get at your Sherlock Holmes, Detective Dakota ring or
Yes,
whatever.
I have a hard time understanding some of that stuff. I need to bring in a 18-year-old kid
Yeah,
to understand some of the cryptic stuff sometimes.
yeah, Bob, and let's not do it like last time. I got you divorced. So, um, but yeah, so that's going to be the kind of over the next few days, I guess. More information come out,
Yeah,
and, and we'll see if Savion Hiter in this offense. Love to see it.
yeah.
We definitely have a chance this weekend to try to knock it out of the park with them,
Hmm.
and with a number of people.
Hmm.
Uh, they're already starting to come off the board. Tristan Gibbons committed to Texas A&M, unfortunately, on
Right.
his
Yeah.
visit out there. Not a major shock.
Right.
No,
Yeah.
they trended that way for a while. I think we did a good job last week. Uh, but once he got back to Texas A&M, it was going to be difficult for them not to, because everybody loves their visits,
Yeah. They do.
you know. I mean, but we'll have some more information on the recruiting class to go along with our giveaway information on
Right.
our next few videos.
Sure.
So once again, guys, thanks for joining us today.
Hmm.
Appreciate those few minutes of your day that you gave us. And please hit that subscribe button. Tell a friend about us. And we'll see you guys next time.
Go Vols.
Go Vols.